Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing okay. It is Connor today. Are you going to be doing fantastically well? I doubt it. So I'm not going to patronize you by saying that. But listen, we're back here with another stream. Slightly better mental health for me. Time is sort of a great servant, and hopefully my mental health will be restored by some sort of normality, and that normality is Leeds United in a playoff campaign. Of course it is. Before we start the video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, everybody. Really appreciate you tuning in with the channel. The channel's doing really well at this moment in time. Views, subscribers, and all that great stuff. So thank you so much for your constant support. I really, really do appreciate it. Our bonus bits on Patreon. You got your merch as well if you fancy getting some summer gear. Link in the description below. All proceeds going to the development of the channel. And all that sort of good stuff, everybody. Today, the title is about as blanket as it is, really. And we're going to get into it. But some really exciting news that I know a lot of you are going to love. I don't think I've got a text off him here. No, I haven't. Yes, David Brown, Mr. Brown, Ossett United's manager, and my pal will be joining me this evening to go through absolutely everything. I know there's a lot of you guys who miss Brownie on the debrief. Me and Brownie are in constant contact. Me and KG are in constant contact. It's just, unfortunately, guys, people's schedules do get in the way. But Brownie will be back this evening, and me and him are going to be chomping through everything to do with Leeds United. And it'll be great to get him on. Obviously, Ossett United have secured their status in the division, which has been great. Brownie, obviously the manager of Ossett United, which so we're buzzing for him. So we'll be on tonight from around about 7. So if you guys want to join, you can do so. The reason I put the blanket title on the video is pretty much because this is how I see it right now. And I know a lot of you guys sort of see it similar, really. And I'm just trying to get myself in just the mental space of, look, this is how it is. It is what it is, as they say. Leeds United, in my thought, are in the playoffs. I know it's mad when you look at it right now, and we are still in the automatics. And you're probably thinking, I can see a few comments saying, Connor, it's not over yet. I'm just talking from my perspective here and how I think it will go. A lot of you guys might think completely differently. Coventry win against Ipswich. I don't think this goes Leeds' way, one iota. And I've just got out of that mental process of looking at these mental gymnastic scenarios, and I'm just at peace with it now. I was having a chat with my old man, and my old man's the exact same. We're just at peace with it now, and we'll look at Leeds United in the playoffs. I thought that week Blackburn and Sunderland killed us. I didn't want to come out here and fully say it because we had games remaining. We had still, 15, 18 points to play for. But that week, I couldn't believe how bad that was that week. And maybe Borough was just a little bit of a blip, even though we weren't great, to be honest with you. So, obviously, having a quick look at the fixture yesterday. Obviously, we're going to have to talk about it. Hull and Ipswich. Hull 3, Ipswich 3. Good result for Hull. Keeps them in the pecking order. Incredible to see that West Bromwich Albion literally still could fall out of it, but it is probably quite unlikely. But a good result in terms of performance from Hull. I did watch it though, and I'll be honest, I thought Ipswich looked more threatening than we did against QPR. They look more up for it. And they do have a really poor defence. I think, Wolfenden, Clark, Leif Davis is pretty much a winger at this point. Ipswich have got a poor defence, but it doesn't matter, does it? And they've not been great. They haven't been great. And the more frustrating thing about all this is we could have gone up with it's a canter with how much Ipswich have dropped points. I mean, even the QPR game, with what happened with Ipswich, or imagine the scenario. And it is just, it's Leeds, isn't it? And it's been Leeds for all our lives. This has always happened from 9-10 to the Bielsa era to this. It's always been the same. So we're just used to it now, aren't we? And I think that's why a lot of us are like anxiety, depression ridden when it comes to this club. Pessimistic, some may say, because they've got it in the locker. But it isn't over. It isn't over. And we do have to say that. But the reason I've titled this video like I have, which will make some of you squirm, because I'm just at peace with it now. I'm at peace. So Leeds United and the playoffs. Anything that happens which could potentially be a bonus, amazing. Coventry beat Ipswich, then, Huddersfield get something against Ipswich and we beat Southampton and all that sort of stuff. But I think I was having a look at some of the permutations this morning, and there was a data set that said, it basically gave, I think it was either 30 different sets of where Leeds will end up, and 5 of them were in the automatic promotion spots. And 17 of them were basically us finishing in the playoffs. Or it was 20 or 17 to 20 of them were us finishing in the playoffs. And I think if you look at any of the data set now, the data sets will tell you that Leeds United, right at this moment in time, will finish in the playoffs. And I think it's just form, everyone, as well. You know, it's mentality, it's all these things which, you know, we look at. I mean, Leeds had a higher XG than QPR the other night, but that's where XG can be completely misinformed. We got battered the other night. So, okay, XG, okay, but we got absolutely, you know, it was an absolute bullying, wasn't it? By QPR, but it was quality as well from them. And I just look at that game. I look at that game that we played on Friday night, and listen, the most negative Leeds fan wouldn't have said 4-0. You know, my dad behind closed door was saying he reckons it's a QPR beat us 1-0. And he was, out of the people I was speaking to, he was probably the worst. He couldn't see us winning down there. And I thought, oh, okay, fair enough. But 4-0. And I know we keep going on about it, but I'm not over it. I don't think I will be over it if we don't end up going up. But yeah, overall, it just feels like the squad is just battered mentally. The performance levels haven't been great post international break whatsoever. 8 points in 21 will tell you that. And the hope is what kills you. If anything, you wanted Ipswich to just put us out of our misery yesterday. Just go up to Hull, beat Hull, you sort it out, and look fine. But they've still left it in the balance, which is giving, I know I can see it in the comments, and we'll get into the comments in a little bit. I know it's given a lot of Leeds fans hope. And it's still there. You know, I still have that little 1% margin of hope, but it's not really there. It's not really there. And you know, the playoff picture is going to be really, really interesting in terms of how this shapes up. You know, West Brom even going to be in there. Norwich obviously are probably going to finish in 5th. I actually can't believe the difference between 6th and 5th now. You know, West Brom just seem to have 5th sewn up for about 10, 11 weeks. And obviously Norwich have done really, really well. You know, obviously they drew the other day. They've got a draw at against Bristol City as well. But we're going to have to start looking at these teams now, in my opinion. Obviously Southampton, another loss yesterday. And for me, it's all about form now, just going into those playoffs. So Leeds picking up a win against Southampton will be psychologically big going into those playoffs, even if it is just a 1-0 win or a 2-1 win. Southampton are just have just fallen off a cliff, really, since that Cardiff result. Their fans aren't happy with Russell Martin. Ipswich, as I keep mentioning, you know, obviously in 3rd at this moment in time. As I say, it isn't over, but I do think it is over from my perspective. I just think, you know, when we're just looking at that game holistically yesterday, they just showed so much more than Leeds did. And was it 2 goals from outside the box? What happens when you shoot, isn't it? But yeah, how they didn't win it in the last minute, I don't know. You know, yeah, McKenna lost his rag a little bit, didn't he? But Ipswich, I don't think they'll be bothered by a point. They won't be bothered by a point at Coventry, really. Going into a game, Coventry have another game at home afterwards against QPR, so it's not their final home game of the season. Alongside that, Huddersfield now are pretty much done, you know. Ipswich's last game of the season, they're pretty much done with that draw they had yesterday against Birmingham at home. So yeah, all the sort of eventualities that I've been looking at and thinking, oh, well, maybe Ipswich will go to the last game against Huddersfield and Huddersfield will have something to play for. They kind of do, but Huddersfield's goal difference is minging. You know, the draw yesterday didn't do them any favours whatsoever. And not only that, on top of that, I just look at Coventry right now. I mean, Liam Kitchen was sent off straight red yesterday, one of their starting defenders, obviously formerly of Leeds United. They've won 1 game in 6 in the Championship against us. And yeah, that's why I'm at peace with it now. And I kind of just wanted to get into the playoff picture. So let's get into a couple of your comments anyway. Honestly, guys, I just see it as like realism at this moment in time. You know, the likelihood of Ipswich completely bottling those next 2 fixtures is very, very unlikely. But if they do, fantastic, and we'll come on here and we'll be jubilant, and we will not quite believe what has happened if that happens. But I just see it as such a small percentage chance now. But once again, we'd completely bottled it that week. Got a win against Borough, and we said we needed to win the last 3 games, and we've completely capitulated against QPR. And then you look at the Ipswich result yesterday and you think, wow, Ipswich once again left the door open for us again. It's like, oh my God. Um, right. Okay. Let's get into a couple of your comments. Um, Morning, Connor fella. Hey up, Joe. Hope you're good, pal. Hope you're good. Been to every playoff game since 1987, but that's it for me until August after Southampton history against us. Only something going for us. Is this an amazing season? Says Oi Bab. If we don't go up automatically, Connor. Um, I don't think. Here's how I see it. Here's how I see Daniel Farke. Here's how I see the whole thing. So I keep getting asked at this moment in time, Connor, would you sack him? Connor, would you keep him on for next season? My overall perspective is that his man management has really impressed me. I criticised him at the start of the season, but his man management genuinely has impressed me. It has, and he's developed. And at the start, when I looked at the Spence situation and Cresswell, didn't like it. But then you really look at everything else, what he's done, especially the Willie Nyonso situation, and genuinely the Spence situation when a lot of it came out, he's done very, very well. The management of Stuart Dallas, keeping him so integrated within the squad, and that send-off was really, really lovely to see. Keeping squad members at a really sort of encouraged and ambitious level when they've not been getting a lot of minutes for portions of it, has been really impressive, you know. I think he relies on the mass quality that we have. I really do think that. And I think for a lot of this season, we have been Vibes FC. And at this moment in time, the vibes are just completely off. So we can't rely on pure individual quality consistently. So how I look at it is next season, I would keep Daniel Farker. I would keep Daniel Farker, but there's a cut-off point. If we don't go up, I know people are asking me if we don't go up, would you stick with him? If we don't go up, I'd keep with him, but there would be a very, very quick cut-off point if things don't go well and start to go wrong. I think he is a manager who tactically has been beaten quite a bit this season by teams setting up in a certain way against Leeds, and I think there's been patterns, trends to do with that. He's got 90 points, 100%, but I think there's a lot of people attributing that to Daniel Farker's managerial acumen. I think a lot of that is due to the fact that we have probably two players in this division who I know they've not been on form recently, but overall, when you look at the overall perspective of the season in terms of Rutter and Somerville, are probably two of the best players the championship will ever hold. And I think you'll go on to see them do really decent things in the game, especially Somerville. You're already talking about they're already talking about Arnie Slot coming in at Liverpool and him being the first signing, almost a post signing, which tells you what a lot of people think of Crysencio Somerville, even in the Premier League. So, listen, I think I 100% would be keeping hold of Daniel Farker, but there would be a cut-off point. Yeah, 100%. And I guess the caveat to that for me would be if there is a really, really impressive championship manager next season, a really impressive one, if we were to stay down, worst case scenario, were to stay down, if there is a really, really top manager at the second tier level, and I look at him and think, yeah, 100%, I would be replacing him. Yeah, 100%. I think the 49ers will do that. I think there's too many people looking into this 4-year deal and saying, wow, they're going to stick with him. I think the 49ers, dependent on how we finish the season in the playoffs, I think they will make judgments on that 100%. And yeah, we can talk about the 4-year contract. We can talk about this, that, and the other, but I think they will make an evaluation. Now, obviously, I'll support the 49ers with whatever evaluation they make, but I would keep hold of him next season. But tactically, he needs to seriously develop. That's if we remain in the championship, by the way. Just giving a bit of perspective, because a lot of people have been asking me about that. That's football. As depressed and frustrated as I am, the players and managers have got 90 points this season just to play devil's advocate. Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%. I can't deny that. Yep, the points tally is what it is. Ryan's in the building now, you're right. Yes, Connor, it's a false hope that gets you. Ipswich have to lose a game or draw 2, and I can't see it. Connor at the playoffs, let's meet up because I think you need a hug, buddy. Yeah, mate. If I can get a ticket, Joe, I'm looking at you, buddy. If I can get a ticket, and Kev, if you're in the building, I'll be there, mate. I'll be there. Leicester fans in the building. Title tomorrow. Yeah, 100%. 100%. No change in manager for the last game and playoffs is a bad idea. Look what happens last season. Tim says, feeling echoes of Spurs last season. If this, but that, and we got battered. So no ifs and buts. Interesting stuff. Individual brilliance on the pitch has got us far, not far, because tactical knowledge. Interesting. Ronnie says, even if we go up, he will need to be tactically adapt or will get slaughtered by teams in the Prem. Yeah, shout out you, Joe. Even if we go up, yeah, I've just read that, mate, haven't I? Yeah, 100%. But yeah, really interested to see what you guys think about this. Are you just accepting it right now in terms of the playoffs, or are you just literally waiting until that last swan song, that final dagger is pushed into all of our hearts by Ipswich invariably getting, probably 2 draws and we maybe draw against Southampton and then beating us getting themselves over that line by a point or something horrific like that. That's why I'm just trying to accept it right now, because it just seems to be ongoing torture. So can we win the playoffs? Listen, if you take a step back, and there's loads of things that you can look at here, the managers, tactical flexibility, and by that, it's personnel, players coming in at this moment in time that are going to make a difference, and you feel that they're going to make a difference. You've got to take into consideration the form, because teams do bring form into the playoffs. I don't know. A lot of people say form goes out the window. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't with the playoffs at all. You normally get a team who is in form going through when it comes to the playoffs. I remember Aston Villa with the Bielsa season, where in late in the football calendar, when Grealish had come back, they just started going on this assault, and you just knew when they got into the playoffs that they were going to be a big problem. As an example, so there's a lot of things that you need to take into consideration here. Yeah, as I say, the personnel, Farke's stubbornness, and how we're going to go about this. But I do think it's going to be a very tricky picture. Do I think that Leeds United have the overall capability to win the playoffs? I do. I genuinely do. I think we have the caliber and quality to do so. I think we're more than good enough to do that. I look at some of the fullbacks, and I think there are weaknesses. I think when you look at, Junior Firpo, defensively, it's not ideal, but he's been absolutely brilliant, and I'm not going to be criticising him at all, really. But you look at Sam Byram, I think there's mass deficiencies when it comes to his game, and I think you've seen Ampadu and Rodon go off a cliff, really, when it's come to the Welsh lads coming back. That can be attributed as well to Dan James, who's gone off a cliff since he's come back from international duty. Kamara has just fizzled. Gruev has completely fizzled. So they need an injection, but the quality's there. The caliber is there for this team. We all know we're good enough. But then Southampton will be thinking the exact same thing, because their team is as good as ours. As good as ours. It's as complete as ours. They need to get themselves back into form. The ace card here really is that Daniel Farke has won promotion before, but he's not won promotion through the playoffs before. There's a few story arcs here as well, by the way, everybody, in this whole playoff conversation. Daniel Farke, and I can tell you this for a fact, Russell Martin hates Daniel Farke. He dislikes him, and I can tell you that for a fact. He does not like Daniel Farke. It goes all the way back to the Norwich days. There's a little story arc there. Martin, you can tell, has got a bit of a fresh ego coming into this game, rates himself evidently. And listen, you saw him. I definitely thought you saw Southampton rest a few players yesterday, and I wonder why that is. So he wants to drive that knife in. Listen, but we have the capability to beat Southampton, as they do with us at this moment in time. Story arc number 2, Norwich and Daniel Farke. A lot of it involves Farke here, but Norwich and Daniel Farke. And once again, you can have a little story arc in there as well with Corberan and Leeds, if West Brom had to fit in there, or if Hull get in there and the Hull City hatred towards Leeds United when it comes to a Yorkshire derby. So there are many different story arcs here and many different things which you don't really want to be taking into the playoffs, because you want it to be simple. But being a club like Leeds United, being the biggest club in the division, it is a problem, because everybody hates us. Everybody loves to see our demise, our downfall. So yeah, it's one of those things, really. But if Farke is somehow able to rectify and reinvigor this mentality, which has just absolutely fallen out of its arse post-international break, then yeah, we can completely win the playoffs. But right now, do I see Leeds getting to the final of the playoffs? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So there has to be some serious coaching, some serious managerial prowess here. But do you just solely blame Daniel Farke? No, you know. But the thing is, this side is full of kids. There is a lot of youngsters in this side, and there is one man picking the side. There is one man who has options off the bench here to change it. There is one man who can implement tactical flexibility. So it all does come back to Daniel Farke. So we can blame the players. I see Mark Bradley in here all the time. Shout out to you, Mark, on my videos saying, players this, players that, players this, players that. But there's a man picking the players, you know? And that's what we've got to look at here, because there are some players who just aren't playing well and potentially need to be taken out. There's flexibility here which you can implement with the quality that we have within the ranks. Let me just get into a few of your comments as well. Jamie, hello, Jamie, Ipswich fan. We do get a few Ipswich fans in here. No matter what happens, we've created one of the best promotion races in the league's recent history. What an advertisement for the championship. Yeah, and listen, Jamie, I wish you weren't frigging here, mate. I'll be honest. I wish you weren't here. I wish McKenna wasn't here. I wish Wes Burns wasn't here. Connor Chaplin wasn't here. And I wish he hadn't created this monster that you guys are at this moment in time. And it's not one of those where I'm not just like licking arse here, but you have got to turn around when you look at Ipswich and think, when you've just come up from League One and you're doing what you're doing at this level and you're on 90 points with us. And yeah, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. And it's classic Leeds running into this. Absolute monster. Shout out to you, Carl, for the donation, buddy. But yeah, let's get into a few of your comments, everybody, as well. Jay's in the building. AJ, just got back from a miserable and wet dog walk, but it still wasn't how bad as I felt after QPR. Huge opportunity missed, but we move on. Got to try stay positive. Cov win, and we match Ipswich. Yeah, mate, 100%. And it's one of these where, listen, I am on board. This is the One Leeds fan channel. It's not the One Opinion fan channel, or the One Agenda fan channel. With a lot of you guys, you have different opinions. You're respectful with it, which I love. If you're an absolute bell end, you're getting blocked. But listen, you guys are very respectful. I love a debate. I love discussion. Brownie's coming on tonight. Trust me, me and him disagree like there's no tomorrow. I disagree with KG a lot, who I text constantly. Me and Gabe disagree a lot. Me and Oscar disagree a lot. All this is for this channel, is to bring a lot of you guys together, and to give varying opinions. I can disagree with you, but football is subjective, as I always say on here. Jay's of the opinion, a lot of you guys are of the opinion that there is still something this season for Leeds in terms of automatics. And it's crazy us having the conversation and the discourse that Connor's here talking about the playoffs. Connor, we're in second. But I just have no belief, because of what they've shown me post-international break, that this side can do it. But do you know what? I tell you what, the one belief for me is, right? The one scenario that I can potentially see us both just losing games. But then I look at Ipswich and I think, in the performance yesterday, I saw more hunger. I saw more drive. And there's people comparing the Hull City right now to QPR in terms of who we faced opposition. Oh, well, they had this XG. They conceded this many chances. Well, we did this against QPR. It's quite similar. Hull did have a few chances. Hull played well, but Hull are a bloody good team. Hull are a very good team. It was a cracking win when we beat them, but Hull are a very decent outfit. QPR, with the greatest of respect, they've definitely turned around since Marty Cuefentes has come in, 100%. But for me, in terms of caliber, squad-wise, and where they are positionally, they're not in the same conversation as Hull. So going to Hull is much more difficult. And if we'd have gone to Hull on Friday night, what would have happened to us? It feels like right now, and I don't know if you guys are in the same picture, but it feels to me right now that we will be struggling against so many teams in this division, not just teams in the playoff race. And that's where I can't get this mental block away. I can't break through it and think to myself, yeah, we're going to do it, because they're not showing me anything. What do you need for the playoffs? To win the playoffs, you need a watertight defense. Now, if Ipswich are in the playoffs, do they win it? I honestly don't think they do. If Ipswich drop into the playoffs right now, I don't think they do win it. But then if we drop into the playoffs, are we going to win it? 7 goals conceded in 2 games. The defense looking absolutely all at sea at this moment in time. I always think a strong defense and a strong rear guard just wins your games. You stay in the game, you get a point, get 3 points, nick a goal at the end. And that's what we were for such a long period of time. But the defense being breached like it's been, 2 against Watford, 2 against Coventry, 1 against Hull, 1 against Blackburn, 3 against Borough, 4 against QPR. These numbers we weren't even, we'd have laughed at these numbers pre-international break. 14 games unbeaten, 9 wins on the bounce, 3 goals conceded from open play since November. We were just an absolute wall at the back. So going into the playoffs, that's something that needs to be studied by the manager and his staff. That's something that needs to be drastically improved. Hugely improved. And I was mentioning this on the debrief as well. There is absolutely no correlation with the fact that Leeds have started losing possession. Other teams have started dictating tempo. Look at Watford in particular, Coventry, Hull, QPR, obviously. Dictating the tempo, having large portions of possession, and then them getting shots on goal, getting closer to our penalty area, shooting, having shots. You even look at that Sunderland game. Sunderland had 2 big chances through Jack Clark, big chances. So it's a really interesting conversation with what Leeds need to improve. Because listen, we're talking holistically about the mentality and everything like that, but that defense needs a rocket. Something needs to change. I'm actually praying Connor Roberts comes back and is available. But then does Archie just go back to right back, and then Glenn comes in central defensive midfield, and we kind of go back to what we've already known. Farke does have these rotation options, but in that central midfield, it's not players who are on form at the minute. It's not players who are world beaters. But then throughout this team, who is at this moment in time? So yeah. Jay says, hello, Jay. So the favourites to win the playoffs is Norwich, 4, 6, and 6. This is down to luck and margin. I don't know if I've read that out right, mate, but yeah, shout out to you. When you hit rock bottom, like we have, the only way is to play all-out attack. Yeah, we could have really done with Strauch in defence now and Ampadu in midfield. Yeah, Derek, and this, I don't want to just on what we could have had and what we should have had, because we've got to look productively going forward. We have got to look proactively now, haven't we? We've got no other choice. As a content creator, I can't come on here and be like, oh, whinge. It is what it is. Oh, we're rubbish. You analyse the game. You analyse the weekend that has been. But you also, we've got to look forward. We've got to look forward. Listen, what did I say on the channel? I've got to say, what did I say? Because I'd never say I was a flip-flop, people. Chat, I'm not a flip-flop. Form, results, of course you can make different opinions when it comes to teams. Of course, you're going to have to do. If Ipswich won 1 game in 9, which they did, or 1 game in 8, and then they go on to win 7 games in 9, you're going to change your opinion a little bit because of the team's form. You can't predict that. You can't predict that. But what is solid and what is fundamental, I think, is when you make opinions and structure and framework when it comes to thought processes on players. And I don't really change when it comes to players. I don't. Once again, it's dictated a little bit by form, of course, but the players have all. Andy Wrong. And the name is, listen, Andy Wrong. Andy said, I've changed my tune like the wind on Melier. I've changed my tune on Cooper and Bamford. And he's got receipts. That's what he said in my comment section. Andy, you're talking shit. I have never. The reason I'm bringing that in is because, as the comments just said here, Pascal Strout, when Ampadu went to the back, it was, well, Pascal Strout's he's rubbish. He's crap. He wouldn't fit into the back line. And what did we say for 3, 4, 5 months? When Pascal gets back in there, there's going to be no drop off. We're going to see an increased threat from set pieces. His ability to play out from the back is second to none. It's better than Ampadu's. And then Ethan can go into that midfield and be the number 6. And we're smacking that drum for months, for months. But you are bang on the money. Absolutely bang on the money. Pascal's back there. We're infinitely better. Infinitely better. Ethan in the midfield, the structure would be a lot stronger, 100%. And a lot of things happened when Ampadu came in. Gruev came in, started playing well. Firpo went left back. Bamford went up front and had a bit of a streaky spell. There was a lot of compartments that happened there. It wasn't just Ampadu came in and was miles better than Stroud. It didn't happen. It's a complete false narrative, that. But listen, Ilan Mele in particular, I couldn't believe it, Andy, when you said that, my friend. I've wavered on Mele. You can watch my videos back since 2017, mate. 2018, I should say. Brownie playoff final winner, Bobby Zamora style. I'm looking forward to seeing him. He's going to be, as I say, he's going to be in tonight. Matt's in the building. Hi, Matt. In my opinion, we need to hope Bamford is back. We are rubbish in attack when he's out the team and he's out versus Southampton. I can't see us scoring. It's interesting with Bamford. As I say, and I'll say this again, the guy is nowhere near good enough for this team long term, in my opinion. However, what I will say, and what we've said on the channel, what we said on the debrief, is he's streaky. So he was on one of his streaks when he'd scored 3 goals in 10 games, and he was poor, really, really poor. And we were absolutely clamoring for Joseph to be in. He wasn't. Fine. Stuck with Bamford. Bamford put in one of his best performances of the season against Middlesbrough. So you're thinking, okay, the balance has switched here. He's going into one of his good spells. So then you're thinking, well, yeah, I wouldn't drop Bamford because he's going into one of his streaks. So if he can streak towards the back end of the season, Borough, QPR, and Southampton, excellent. But obviously he picked up a knee injury, so he wasn't even in the squad. So that was just typical, wasn't it? But if we're being absolutely brutally honest, if we're talking about Perot or Bamford, once again, from January onwards, you can't really waver in that because this is harsh, but Joel Perot is nowhere near it. And for a guy who, and once again, we'll speak about this evening, who scored, 40 goals, been one of the Championship's top scorers, if not the Championship top scorer for Swansea, isn't that indicative of how heavy that badge wears on certain players? You come from Swansea, you decimate the division for 2 seasons in succession. You've got all the top clubs in the Championship looking at you. You come to Leeds United, and if we're being honest, it's not been good, has it? Goals, okay. I think there's context to those goals, but goals, okay. He's not done badly, but for that much money coming in as almost a poster boy striker, it ain't been good enough. And we're looking at a scenario again where Patrick Bamford is the only out-and-out number 9 at the club. Because if we're being honest, he doesn't trust Joseph, and Perot ain't a number 9. So we're still looking at a scenario going into probably next season where the out-and-out number 9 at the club is Pat Bamford, which is staggering. But that is the scenario we're looking at right now. But if you're asking me right now, who am I looking at in terms of Pat or Perot? It's Patrick Bamford every day of the week, which I didn't think I'd be saying at the start of the season. Let's get into a couple of comments, everybody. If only we had Firpo, Strout, Road on Roberts at the back, Gray and Ampadu in the middle, I genuinely think we'd have secured top 2 by now. Jay, we've had the opportunities, mate, to get that top 2. The team needs experience right now. I'd put in Cooper, as crazy as that sounds. Yeah. Ryan says, Connor, I have a receipt from when you said Melly, it was better than Nigel Martin. Nigel Martin is one of my favourite ever players at the club, mate. Never mind just goalkeepers. British Gaming says, we play better attacking, close style quickly and control the outcome of that match. Lee's in the building. Hey, Lee. I agree with you 100% saying that it hats out. There's no BS. I appreciate that. Would you swap Melier out? He pulls the odd wonder save, but basics are non-league. Would I pull Ilan Melier out? No, I wouldn't. And do you know what the basics are, British Gaming? We've got no alternatives. So yeah, no, I wouldn't be pulling Elan Melee out, but I'd be pulling Elan Melee out. Pause for next season. But we all said this at the start of the season, didn't we? But we've got no competition. The competition is Carl Darlow, who is just is happy and has been happy in his entire career, just been a bench option. And that's from pretty much it's very good sources. As in, I've spoken to a player who's played with him. They can't believe he's at the level that he's at. So yeah, you've got no one pushing Elan Melee. So yeah, and who has really for the large portion of 3 or 4 years. So yeah, I'd be keeping him in. I think changing your goalkeepers a real issue at this stage in the season. And Carl Darlow has played before, and it's not been great, has it? So yeah, listen. Who do you hope comes second, and who do you think deserves it? Leeds United, mate. But yeah, I presume you're an Ipswich fan. You might not be, but I'm obviously not going to say I think Ipswich deserve it. I think we've been brilliant as well. I think it's just a fairy tale with Ipswich, isn't it? And everybody wants them to do it. But I'm a Leeds United fan, so invariably I want Ipswich to completely bottle it and for Leeds to go up, obviously. But yeah, listen, I think that the overriding point and the over arc here is that you need a watertight defence for these playoffs. And you can literally get in, as we've seen with Huddersfield previously, with a unbelievable defence and just scoring the odd goal. I think that's the most important factor going into these playoffs. I think it's huge. You sort that defence out, and teams can't score against you, and you're solid. You'll win the playoffs. 100%. You'll win the playoffs. I think probably maybe a lot of those teams in the playoffs, especially if you're looking at West Brom, especially if you're looking at Norwich and Southampton, will concede goals, and Leeds are in that conversation now. But the thing with us is for a large portion of the season, we've been very, very good at the back. Now, if Connor Roberts is back in terms of selection at right back, that would be amazing. I'd get him straight back in there. Byram is just looking Byram, which is just average Joe. It's been all right for us. He stepped in this season, but he's an average Joe. Connor Roberts is much better than him in terms of decision making, just as a defensive player, getting forward. But there's an argument once again that you put Archie at the back and we just regain that structure again. But what he's interestingly doing now, Farker, is going to a 4-1-4-1, but it is crucifying us. It's killing us. And you're not really getting anything from Archie anyway. We're not having shots on goal from Archie. We obviously had the Borough break where he got through and he was a massive sort of contributor to that Willian Yonto should have been offside goal. And that was great to see him breaking the line and doing that. But it feels like he's central up top now with Rutter and Bamford or Perot, which is just leaving Gruev completely exposed. So we're just getting killed in that transition. And you saw that with Elias Scher for the first goal, completely caught up the field. And then Gruev, who I think I don't mind him, but I think he's criminally overrated by this fan base, is not athletic and physical enough to stop Scher in about 95% of situations the other night. And that was one of them, the first goal, where he just checked inside, showed a bit of athleticism, agility, pinged it in the bottom corner. So listen, there are ways and means of doing this, but Leeds have got to get better at the back. The guy in net is massive as well to this because he breeds confidence. If you've got a solid goalkeeper, he breeds confidence. And the reason that goalkeeper has bred confidence in the back line the whole season is because he's not really had many shots to face for the whole season, really. And that's why Leeds have been putting out the heat map, not the heat maps, the clean sheet things, because it's a confidence boost for him. So 13, whatever it has been, clean sheets. But you don't blindly back the goalkeeper. Tell me where he's improved. And all the people who blindly back him can't tell you where he's improved. They just say clean sheets. So the watertight defense, a huge contributor to that is the goalkeeper. Look how brilliant under Gary Monk we had it. It was completely imbalanced, but under Gary Monk, do you remember Rob Green in that? A leader, someone who'd done it, mass experience. Then you had obviously Charlie, Janssen, Bartley, and Luke Ayling. Now that, as I know it sounds ridiculous, but that as a back five was watertight. And a big contributor to that was Rob Green. who was absolutely superb when it came to a goalkeeper with experience, who was barking at his defenders. And Leeds' defensive record that season was really decent as well. Obviously, we went on to with Bielsa, with Ben White and Strauch, and obviously Melee in between the sticks and all that sort of stuff. But that Gary Monk season, we were just watertight at the back, and it was led by the goalkeeper. That's probably a classic example of it, really. The problem is right now is the geezer save percentage is on its arse. And for you guys who might not like the wishy-washy language, I'm not just saying it because it's stats, data, and all this sort of stuff. I say, and you say, when a shot goes on goal, no one has any confidence with the geezer. Minus 3.88 when it comes to goals prevented. Hermansen at Leicester's got +7. So he's recovered that rate. Melee's in a net negative. So you have to, because what your eyes tell you is below average. So then what you have to do is go hunt for the data, and then the data backs up what your eyes are telling you, which gives you that complete package. What you learned in school, point, evidence, explanation. That's exactly it. So that is the bit that worries me, and that's why we almost have to do what we did earlier on in the season: keep the ball away from him, and that provides a difficult task. So we've got to control possession, dictate possession in these playoffs, make sure we've got a tighter rear guard, make sure we're compact, which I don't think we have been. We were compact, but we're not compact anymore when it comes to that defensive structure. And I'll be brutally honest with you guys, keep the ball away from Meslier. Just keep us as a zone, as a side, away from our goal. That sounds ridiculous and basic and stupid, but if you could rely on your keeper, you'd be like, well, yeah, they're going to get maybe two or three big chances, but we rely on the guy between the sticks 100%, and he'll breathe the confidence in the lads. The guy in the net doesn't do that. So you've just got to keep the ball away from him, have possession in the opposition half or that mid block, and then hopefully we'll get success from that point. But the overarching point is that back five needs to be extremely good in the playoffs. Let's have a look. I'd take Rob Green right now. Oh, mate, I would. Our best players is forward, so play to our strengths. We need dirty Leeds back. Who would you want, West Brom or Norwich? God. Probably West Brom now. Actually, I don't know. That's a really good question. It's a really good question, Paul. Because we've not been good against Corberan this season. They've got 4 points off us, haven't they? We took 6 off Norwich, but that last game was tough. It was tough. But they didn't really create anything. But I believe Josh Sargent wasn't playing. God, I don't know. It's a really good question. I tell you, I wouldn't want Hull. I wouldn't want Hull at all with what they do. Listen, 3-1 was we got the win, but remember that game. Remember that game. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know, because I'm looking at Norwich right now and I'm thinking where we seem to be losing the midfield battle every single game, and I'm looking at Gabi Sara, who in my opinion is arguably the best midfielder in the Championship right now. And I don't want to see him and Kenny McLean up against our midfield at the minute. I really don't. And I think that's where the game's won and lost. But then you look at West Brom and it's that stodginess that Corberan will just kill the game. And we know what they're about, and they've managed to get 4 points off us this season. So, yeah, I don't know, mate. So that's a question for you guys, I guess. The defense has definitely flattered Elam. Oh, it has, mate. Massively. Massively. Connor, they keep saying Melia's distribution from the back is good. Listen, I'm not. Do you know what it is, Michael? I'm not one of these. I get marginally frustrated by the same rhetoric every single time, where it is just like it's blind faith. It's blind faith. But I do think I'm fair as a fan. I genuinely do. Like this season, I've been buzzing. I've been so happy with what we've seen. I've laid criticism down where I think it's due, but I feel I'm quite balanced with it. I'm not too far one way and I'm not too far the other way. I understand, as I keep saying, that people have different opinions. I understand that, but it is just a blind faith sometimes. That is just like you look at it and you just think to yourself, well, are you watching the game? Are you just there for the vibes? Are you vibes FC? So like, we're all Leeds United fans no matter what. That's always the same. But back the boys. You're a bad fan because you've said that Elan Melee is crap. What? Okay. Okay. So yeah, listen, it's not fanboys as such, but I think sometimes people just have to watch it, have to watch what we're actually seeing and not just be so staunch and just because it's an agenda one way then, isn't it? Because it's like, it could throw 3 goals in the back of his net and you'll still be like, you'll still get people going, I love Elan Mele, he's still the best, he'd do it for us in the Prem. Well, then you're not looking at the evidence here, are you? You're not looking at any of the data, you know. So yeah, I just think it's a difficult one, but yeah, guys, there's over 1,000 of you watching. Please slap a like on the video, especially if you enjoy the content. We have got Brownie coming along later on. We've got a live stream later on, so tune in for that. That'll be at around 7 o'clock. Ipswich will go on to win the last games. My mind is set. Lars said, I think I've said it before, if Hull get in the playoffs, they will go up. Oi Bab says do a phone in. I will do. Honestly, if you wanna phone in again, if you want to phone in again, we'll do a phone in 100%. We did it last time and it's really good. Enjoyed it. It's always a big one. And you guys get your opinions in. It's always lovely. Sometimes you disagree, sometimes you agree. But as I said at the start of the stream, you're all very, very respectful. And that's what we're here for. Just a bit of discourse. And yeah, you're all great with your opinions. I thoroughly enjoy the phone in. So we'll definitely be starting doing the phone ins again. And it is therapy, as Andrew says. They look scared. Yeah, I think the mentality needs to be drastically improved at this moment in time. I agree with you. Last says only good season Melee has had for us was behind closed doors. Who else was only good for us behind closed doors? Who else? I think he got 17 goals that season, didn't he? Yeah. Nah, it's all you're all singing from the same hymn sheet, everybody. But I think I don't want to bore you too much. I know you guys have got your Sunday sermons and all that to get to, and we will be doing a little bit more of one later on when it comes to a bit more content. But if you want some bonus content, head on over to the Patreon. As I say, got some merchandise. Link in the description below. It's not just like player specific stuff. It's Leeds stuff, one Leeds stuff, t-shirts, hoodies, all that good stuff, mugs. Make sure you check that out, everybody. All the proceeds go to running the channel, which is quite expensive, believe it or not. But yeah, really appreciate your support as always. You've all been brilliant. It's been a dark weekend, but all your support and engagement and interaction has been excellent. I hope to see you along with Brownie this evening, who is joining me on the channel for the first time in 4-ish months, which is going to be great. Hopefully, he can give you guys a little bit of a different perspective as well. I like, as you guys all know, on the fan channel, I feel like we are quite unique here by just getting other people's opinions on who we disagree, debate and stuff. I know you guys love that because, you'll be in the comments and saying, Connor, you're wrong, or Brownie, you're wrong. And it's great. I enjoy it. It's fantastic. And he enjoys it as well. But can't wait to see him later on the stream. I know you guys will be looking forward to that one. We're going to be linking up with KG as well very soon. I know you guys enjoyed Cage's content on the channel and stuff like that as well. We'll be linking up with him very, very soon. So all good things coming, everybody. Please show your love. Like the video. Make it rank higher on the algorithm. As I say, we do have a giveaway coming very, very soon. And if you've ordered from the site before, back 4 and 1 Leeds Fan Channel, you get 10% discount right now. That's on the channel. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I will see you this evening. Cheers.